The massive container ship, the Evergreen, has been formally arrested following a court order in Egypt. The news was confirmed by the ship's operator, Taiwan-based liner Evergreen. At present, the ship is being held at anchor in the Great Bitter Lake, along with 25 crew and its cargo of around 20,000 containers, weeks after it ran aground and blocked the Suez Canal. The order came after the Suez Canal Authority filed an application on April 13 to arrest the vessel while submitting a compensation claim amounting to $916 million against the ship's Japanese owner, Shoei Kisen. And apparently, this request has been granted by an Egyptian court. The claim included $300 million for salvage bonus and another $300 million for loss of reputation, as stated in a release by Evergreen. The release also mentioned that during the meeting between the ship owners and the SCA on April 12, no consensus was reached as the SCA's claims were largely unsupported and lacked any detailed justification. On a related note, general average has been declared by the ship's owners, which, to put in simple terms, means that the cargo shippers and the ship owner will proportionally share the cost of certain losses or expenses arising from the grounding incident. Now, as for the ship itself, the Classification Society ABS, or American Bureau of Shipping, has already completed the surveys on the ship and issued a certificate of fitness. Now, what does this mean? On a previous video, I have discussed what surveys and inspections were done on ships that went through a grounding incident. And the results of these surveys will determine if the ship is still safe to resume its voyage. Now, if the Evergreen was issued a certificate of fitness, then it must mean that, at least physically, the ship is still seaworthy. However, I also mentioned that because the ship was involved in a major incident, it is possible that the safety management certificate will be called into question, which means an audit of the safety management system would have also been conducted. This investigation will determine the root cause of the grounding, whether it was the weather, machinery failure, or human error. And if it was due to human error, was it the ship staff or the canal pilots? This can be determined by reviewing all the available data on board. First and foremost is from the VDR, or Voyage Data Recorder, because whatever conversation they had on the bridge will be recorded there. And there will also be pertinent information from the engine control room, like alarm records and engine telegraph log, among other things. But so far, no official release has been made yet as to the actual cause of the grounding. Personally, I have been through the Suez Canal many times over the course of my seafaring career, so I have my suspicions. But I'll keep that to myself for now. Also, there seems to be no mention of the Evergreen safety management certificate being revoked after the survey done by the ABS. Now, I don't want to jump into any more conclusions, but that implies something very, very significant. In any case, even though the initial claim amounted to $916 million, a lengthy process in court will eventually determine the actual warranted amount, which in all likelihood will end up as a fraction of the initial claim. On top of that, once the actual amount comes out, we can be sure that the insurers will drive a hard bargain and stretch the case for a very long time, maybe years, in order to further lower the settlement cost. But the thing is, the Suez Canal Authority has an ace up their sleeve, and that is the Evergreen, safely anchored inside their territory. And they have clearly stated that the ship won't be released until the compensation is paid. In a previous video, I showed you the predicament of Chief Officer Mohammed Aisha, who for the past 4 years has been on board MV Aman, the general cargo ship that has been detained in Egypt since 2017. Now, if the insurers decide to play the long game, yes, there is a big possibility to reduce the compensation amount. But given the example of MV Aman, I think we can assume that the SCA will hold on to the Evergreen for as long as it takes. Issuing the arrest is one of the ways that the SCA could apply pressure to all parties involved: the P&I, the ship owners, crew members, and the cargo shippers, all of whom want the case to be closed as soon as possible and finally be able to move on and conclude this eventful chapter in shipping history.